Welcome, my friends, to Inside the Minds of Authors. I'm DC Gomez, and I'm thrilled you're joining me today for a fun conversation with a passionate author. We're kicking off the program, like it's our tradition, with a short reading from the feature book. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get started.
Hi, my name is Joe Purpura, author of my first novel, Code Crisis. And just a quick background, high level on me. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist that retired several years ago and went into biotech. I'm a patient safety expert. And this started out as a hobby for me about 10 years ago. And I finally decided to get serious about it. So I'd like to read a little bit from my book. Prologue. Santa Barbara, California. Federal Homeland Security investigators are looking into the mysterious discovery of a possible smuggler's panga boat found abandoned and going in circles in the open waters off the Santa Barbara County coast. A fisherman who spotted the 35-foot-long boat about 3 miles off the coast of Gaviota yesterday morning observed that there appeared to be no one on board and that the wheel had been tied. The Coast Guard was called and a cutter dispatched to the scene to investigate. 2 guardsmen subsequently managed to board the abandoned vessel and bring it under control, whereupon it was towed to Santa Barbara Harbor. Except for several military-style bungee straps, there was no sign of cargo. Coast Guard spokesman stated that this type of boat is commonly used for smuggling drugs and weapons from Mexico into the United States. Chapter 1. One thing we learn in medicine is how to bury things. And just like that, another night is laid to rest. Orange flecks dance the walls of my tiny on-call bedroom as I sit up to face the sunrise through the open window. A mild ocean breeze pushes night-blooming jasmine scents over me, thick enough to stick to my clothes. The bed creaks when I turn to my iPhone, sitting silent on the cherry nightstand, reminding me of my last call of the night. One of the gynae residents, covering his butt, was trying to get buy-in on some post-op orders. After that, I dodged all the bullets. I rubbed my eyes, grateful for a quiet Friday night, overnight, in an insanely busy place called Santa Barbara Community Hospital. Colleagues tell me I'm good at saving lives, but I'm at a point where a patient in trouble is not fun anymore. Besides, I have trouble to resuscitate my own life. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I sleep, run between the ICU and ER between cat naps, or stay up all night long doing surgery. I don't care. It's fun running around putting out fires, being needed, teaching residents how to do the life-saving. I love taking call, and not just because I'll likely die alone in a house full of dogs and empty wine bottles. The hospital is also a nice break from being out in the community. It's shelter from nosy jerks with their little side hugs that last too long, punctuated with pats on the back. How are you? What's going on in your life now? Some don't even try hiding the schadenfreude behind their concerned, knitted up brows and pinched up ugly faces I want to punch out. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. The amber splash growing on the horizon is hypnotizing. Then my cell phone clangs and lights up with a text like a goddamn Christmas tree. Dr. DeLuca, please call me in the ER regarding a patient who needs surgery stat. So much for dodge bullets. I'm praying to God that the patient is not some train wreck about to consume my entire day, a day that I need to recharge my badly run down emotional and physical batteries. Hi, it's Vince DeLuca. I don't sound like me, one of the faculty nice guys. I'm sure senior gynae resident Jane Clark picks up a smidge of my being pissed at the prospect of a problem to deal with 30 minutes before I go off call. Okay, Vince, find Mr. Softy mode. I'd kill for a double espresso. Hey, Dr. DeLuca, Jane here. She ends on a downward inflection. Do you have time for a quick question? So far, no quavering voice, no hint of an unstable, dying patient. I take the bait. course, Jane, and thanks for the quiet night. I'd lighten it up. Yet no, a patient now is an obstacle between me and home, food, sleep, sex, life. Jane becomes a human radio, recounting her entire night. I don't hint that I want her to get to the point, except for a few rude interruptions, which the first generation Italian Americans in my family simply cannot control. Nothing personal. We do it to everyone. She presents the patient. Name's Jacqueline Carter, goes by Jackie, 42 years old, sexually active, missed 2 periods, has pelvic pain and spotting. Fuck, a goddamn ectopic pregnancy, surgery time. Bad Dr. Vince is about to ask if it can wait until the day shift arrives, but Jane intervenes. Ectopic for sure, Vince, and it's ruptured or close to it. Those who lack the skill or conviction to act, analysis paralysis, have their days numbered in medicine. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong, never in doubt. That's the surgeon's creed. Jane gets an A+ today. Vince, I explained everything to her and Brent, her husband, but when I said you were in-house, she recognized your name and asked, begged actually, if you could come talk to her before the day shift takes her to the OR. Okay, great, I lie, picturing the hemorrhagic, gelatinous mess deep in Jackie Carter's pelvis. I'll be right down. I predict I'm going to get nailed into doing this case, but that's our other creed. Get in, get out, go home.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Minds of Authors. I'm hoping you're loving that reading as much as I did. It's going to be such a fun episode. We're going to have a blast. Just a quick note, everyone, if you're interested to see in the behind the scenes video of what the podcast is all about, don't forget, become a podcast junkie. Join the Painter community. Click on the link and make sure you don't miss anything. You're also going to help us to have more amazing authors. And for those of you who are new, make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a single thing. So let's jump in. Hello, Mr. Joe. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, DC?
I am fabulous. Love the reading. You did amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You did fabulous. Questions. I am all over the place. Your introduction of yourself was fabulous. I was like, oh my God, you come with so much background. This book is smart and funny. And I'm like, ooh, feel bad for the doctor. So let's jump in. Where did this idea come from?
It came from, I would say, boredom. It started about 10 years ago when I was still practicing medicine. And there's a lot of downtime, especially in obstetrics. You're sitting in a hospital waiting for someone to progress through labor. And you can only watch Turner Classic Movies so many times before you've seen everything 4 or 5 times. Then I started taking notes and just thinking about a doctor that, is sort of facing burnout and looking for some excitement, and some excitement pops into his life, maybe an unexpected amount of excitement. And I just took notes. And long story short, I think during the pandemic, I had a lot of downtime and I decided I'm going to go through those legal pads and just see what's there and what's not there and put something together. And I ended up starting a first draft of everything I've compiled, and probably less than a year it came out, and that was it. It was sort of a composite of various snippets of things that I've been thinking, some good scenes, some terrible. And that was it. I think it was just the freewheeling imagination from a standpoint of a medical professional.
So being in the field as long as you were, have you met a person like this? Let's just get down to the meat of this.
Like Vince?
Yes.
Let me tell you, when I retired from medicine, burnout was rampant. There were a lot of people that were just going through the motion. And that's one of the reasons why I looked to move on, because I'm inherently a positive person and I don't like to be around negative people. With long work hours, with managed care, lawsuits and all that, thank God I've never been sued. It makes you angry. And I think a lot of people were taking it out on patients, I saw, and I just don't like being around that kind of environment. I don't like being in that. So I decided I'm going to move on. And I also tore my rotator cuff very severely and had surgery done. So I had to stop doing obstetrics. I could see the end was near from my medical career, and I got a master's in patient safety and healthcare quality. And then a friend called me and said, "Hey, how'd you like to come work with our company, a biotech company?" And he said, "It's a 9 to 5 job." And I'm like, "Oh, I've never had one of those." So I said, "Okay, great." And then that was it. I had my 9 to 5 job and a little bit more time to really get serious about this. I relocated within that job out to Southern California from Chicago. And I just fell in love with the nature and the topography out here. It just lit some creative element inside me. And I decided to get serious and do it.
Not only did you transition to a new job, you changed locations, you got inspiration, you have all these things coming together, which is absolutely beautiful. And the stories are flowing because Vince is one of those characters that you're like, you're brilliant, yet I don't think I want to hang out with you because, God, you have some issues.
Yeah, I was on the verge of thinking, should I stay in medicine or not? I don't like the feeling of where things are heading. And I think the shoulder injury was sort of the catalyst. And then I just took, again, a composite of all the people that I knew, all the good things and all the bad things. But most of this is complete fictitious. It's fiction. As far as the real protagonist, Carolyn, when Vince calls the FBI and meets her, she's a composite of people that I've known and read about. That was the fun part about reading. I mean, you stop your day job, open your laptop, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's a relaxing thing. You can go anywhere you want. You can be anyone you want to be. You can do anything you want. It's all right there in front of you to lay out. That was a lot like cheap psychotherapy for me. And I have some friends that are authors, and they say the exact same thing.
It's a very, very awesome journey. And it gives you an opportunity just to explore these things that you're like, what if?
Yeah, exactly.
The beautiful thing is you have enough knowledge to be like, what if this went bad? This is what will happen.
Yeah. And that's my job now in patient safety. If this happens, how could this hurt people? So a fertile imagination helps. So
what genre will we put this book in? Because it has all these little mixed pieces. Where would you put it under?
It's marketed as a medical thriller, and it went Amazon bestseller in medical thriller and medical romance. So I would say it is a thriller with a splash of romance in it, but it's not really. My publisher said, "Where do you think this is?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You're the expert." I just sat down and did seat of the pants writing. And that was an eye opener. My first editor said to me, "Joe, people don't have time to read books anymore. 100,000 words is way too much. So we have to cut this down." And they were right. There was a lot of fluff and good stuff that I can use in the sequels, but a lot of cleanup and all that. But they basically said it's okay to not be in a specific locked in formulaic genre. I think that's helped. There's going to be some people that think this is a thriller and it ain't going to be a start to finish thriller. I mean, it is, but the romance could be off-putting for some people. And that can happen in reverse. People are thinking there's a lot of romance in here, but no, it's a blend of two things. So it's a thriller / romance, whatever. Is that a genre?
It is. Nowadays, everything's a little bit of a mashup. So you get a little bit of all these pieces together. And I'm the reader that enjoys it. Like I enjoy the combinations. I enjoy the pulls of the story. So
yeah, you can go a lot of different places. And yeah, exactly. So,
I like the fact that your editor and your publisher said nobody's reading long books anymore, which is kind of shocking.
Yeah, you're the expert. This is my first book. So I thought, yeah, that really surprised me too. We have an audio book coming out. I think it might be out already. It's people don't sit around, but I mean, that's not me. I have a book mountain next to my desk and also one in my bedroom. We all have that of things I'm getting through. I love to read, but I guess there's some people that in the digital age, they don't have time to sit and read, even if it's on a Kindle.
We have so much distractions going on that it's easier to digest a short story that you can kind of get quickly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
But you mentioned the word sequel, so I want to know about this.
Well, what I've heard from everyone that's read this, and I'm reading the reviews, they really love the two main characters, Vince DeLuca and Carolyn Talbot. And I think they do have certain chemistry and a certain weirdness and still some problems to work through. So I think I see them working through phase 2 of this. Now, whether it's going to be a strict thriller, I think it will be a thriller. I have to come together with the basics of an outline. And I don't write an outline. I kind of write an outline, but then I just sit down and write. But I have to find some kind of direction to take them. But I think it will involve those two characters and some of the subordinate characters as well from the FBI and from CIA that are in this book. My publisher said Code Crisis. That's sort of a play on code blue, the medical terminology for bad things. You should make it code something. I think, I don't want to be locked into that, but I think it's a good idea. And it'll sort of tie a series of maybe 2 more books on this before I move on.
The fact that you still want to keep writing the story means there is more to it.
Yeah.
As a writer, you're going to know, like, okay, this is the end of this one. Like, regardless what people tell you, you're going to be like, and the end. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, we're done with this group. We need to move on to something else. So that's a
Right.
beautiful thing. So tell me, besides learning that people have very different reading styles nowadays, what else have you learned in this journey? Because this is your first book. What have you learned that you didn't expect?
I think you punish yourself thinking it's never good enough. When you finally break that third wall or whatever and get it out there and let people look and touch it and see it, it's good because you realize, hey, this doesn't totally suck. It needs work. I did seven drafts, maybe 8 to get it where it is now, but that was a fun process. I love that. I love the rewriting and I love the transformational stuff that it brought to myself and my writing and also my characters in the book. So I learned that maybe I should have reached out for outside feedback earlier. If you go to your friends, they're going to say, oh, this is great. It's like having people over for dinner, like, oh, this is great. You should open a restaurant, that kind of thing. That's mostly totally BS and you can't believe it. I think that's what I would do. I would get feedback earlier. But now that, thank God, I know some really good editors and also some friends who are authors that can take a look at things. So I learned to, I guess, short answer, be more collaborative sooner than later.
One of the things a lot of our guests usually say is build your community, build
Yeah.
that tribe.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to see it now. It's like, okay, there's a tribe of people that are here to
Right.
help and make it better. So you're getting that sense of like, this community really can be very beneficial to us. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I made true friends through this process too.
Since you were writing about something you knew, and I'm usually asked this question to many people, did you have to do a lot of research on this field or was it all from memory? Because I'm curious to find out, has many things changed since you retired?
The medical stuff was all there. And obviously, there's no specific patients that are involved. It's all fiction, but it's based on medical things that everyone sees from the first year in medical school. You see all this stuff happening and it stays with you forever. The criminology side of it, I think there I had to do a lot of research, especially the mechanics of how FBI and CIA operate and what they do, what they can't do. And then, of course, I took poetic license and took that to ridiculous extremes that are total fantasy. I hope they're total fantasy. That was the main research that I did, the non-medical stuff. And that was fun.
I'm loving that you say the word fun so often because many authors, like the editing process, oh my God, it is excruciating. It's like, I hate that part. That's the work. You're taking this with such an amazing attitude. It's like, I had a blast.
Yeah, it was. It was like going to Disneyland every day, writing and working with editors and researching things and learning new things.
With that train of thought, what advice would you give an up and coming author?
Just do it. If you think there's a book rattling around inside your head, don't wait 10 years like I did to really get serious about it. Start doing something. They say, even if it's a sentence or 2 a day, just stay with it. You can take breaks, but always come back to it and keep going. When you think you have something, open it up and let some people look at it, and they'll let you know if you're in the right hemisphere, if you're heading in the right direction or not. That's what I would do. I understand the solace and the peace from sitting there writing, and it's yours and it's all inside you, but it really gets exciting when other people are involved. I think it
Oof.
validates what you're doing and it says, hey, you're not crazy.
You
And
need
and
this rainforest.
I took this from the standpoint, I don't care if I sell one book or not, but then I'd be careful about that. I don't think you should write to make money. I think you should write to write and be happy and express yourself. And like anything in life, if you love what you're doing, the money will come.
That's such a good advice. Some people tend to forget money will come. Just
Yeah,
put your best product out there. So yes.
yeah, exactly.
So Mr. Joe, tell me, where can our listeners find you? Where they can find the book? Where are you located?
Well, I'm located at codecrisisbook.com. There's a link in there for email. Anyone that wants to email me, I'll do my best to respond. The book is available everywhere books are sold. And I got to admit, I've been sort of a nerd practicing medicine and being in biotech. I was not big on social media, but my publisher got me Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and I'm doing my best to learn that. So anyone that's forgive me for being slow or not knowing how to do things properly there, that's where I am. And I really love feedback from people that have read the book, both good and bad. Have at it and I'll respond.
Listeners, you need to go ahead and check him out. Find this book, having a blast adventure with these characters. You guys are going to love them. So, Mr. Joe, before you leave us, are you ready for the lightning round?
Oh, okay. I think I am.
Super easy. Don't think too much about it. Your face was precious.
Okay.
So let's try this. Home cooked meals or a restaurant meal?
Restaurant, definitely. That's where life imitates art. You can sit down at a bar in a restaurant next to two women talking and come away with a country western hit song.
I love it. Oh my God, that is awesome. I like that. Sweet or sour?
Sweet.
Okay. An indie film or a Hollywood one?
I like indie films. I like seeing things that are, again, not cookie cutter, genre specific. I love to see that experimentation.
Awesome. Driving or flying?
I love a good road trip. I really do. Although I've done some of my best writing at flight level 350, after a couple of Tito's vodkas. But I love the hassle. Like I do some business trips and I figured out door to door, it's actually faster if I drive from Southern California, say up to the Bay Area. That is such a beautiful drive. If I had a choice, I always drive rather than fly.
I like your options. So here's a little different. Let's see how you do with this one. What movie character best fits your personality?
Let's see. I don't know. My personality. I'm a cross between Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci.
Ooh, I like.
Sort of unpredictable.
Love it. All right, Mr. Joe, do you have any closing remarks for us?
Thank you for having this, and thank you for allowing me to feel the pain of reading my own work. That was an education. And also, you've given me some helpful feedback today as well. Thank you to your audience, and I'll follow you everywhere. Hopefully, we'll keep in touch, and maybe next time when I get my next book out there, the sequel to this, we can connect again.
I am looking forward to having you back on the show. So absolutely. And when you have your new release, let us know so you can also join us at the Book Corner on Amazon. It'll be fabulous. So congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you. This was a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
And to our viewers, go ahead, follow Mr. Joe. Make sure you check out the book. Make sure you don't miss anything. If you're new, make sure to follow the podcast. You don't want to miss an episode. And we're going to be back next week with another amazing author. Bye.